Before I start today's review, I have received a couple of things in the post that I want to talk about. The first thing is this guy. It's a GoPro Session 5 mount, and this has been sent in by Shane and Daryl. They have a eBay store that they run selling these, and they sent a few of these in to check out for my 210, and I noted that they didn't quite fit properly. This mount here was at the front and it would get in the way of the mounting system, so they have very kindly modified that and sent me this and also put my name on it. Very nice, so thanks for that, guys. I'm actually going to be using one of these in today's review. And then secondly, this guy has turned up. You will see there that it says AIO F3. It's a all-in-one SP Racing F3 board, brushed. It has got a built-in on-screen display as well as a built-in FreeSky receiver, so I'm interested to check that out in the future. And I've also received Drone Zone, which is a magazine that I subscribe to. I really like it. It's always giving me a point of topic, and we have the Inductrix here, their own version, which I'm interested to check out. I always like to check out the reviews that they do in this magazine, because it usually relates to the stuff that I'm doing, and I'd say good for Inductrix for making their own FPV version. I'd love to check that thing out. And another thing that I'm interested in this magazine in is lots of Inductrix Tiny Whoop stuff in there. Yes, it's got the Unique Breeze in here, but also the Phantom 4 Pro, which is something that, fingers crossed, I'm trying to get one to check out, so I'll be interested to read that. Anyway, on to today's review, and I've got it here. This is the Shuriken 250. Now, I have actually reviewed this guy before. However, GearBest and Shuriken have teamed up to make a ready-to-fly version, and so they have sent it me to check out. So, this time it comes with everything that you need to fly, actually, other than some FPV goggles. So in this review I'll be using the Fat Shark Dominator V2 goggles with my Menace RC patch antenna, the Omway antenna, and also Fat Shark's Diversity receiver module. So that's the only thing that you need. So if you get a cheap pair of those visor goggles for like $40, and then that's everything that you need to go doing FPV. So let's take a look at what you get this time with it. Now, you do not get the Session 5 and the mount. This is something that I have added here. So what you do get this time is a 3-cell battery. So this one is going to be aimed at more sort of mid-range sort of technical skill rather than the higher range, because it's a 3-cell battery. It's only a 1300 as well, so it's not a 4-cell battery. And I'm actually questioning how much flight time I'm going to get with this, because it's a heavy guy, this is, and having these thick arms as well. I found that with the other version that I had, it pulled a lot of amps, and I think it's because these arms get in the way of the props slightly, so I'll have to check that out there. But Holybro make this guy, and I was really impressed with it when I got the first version, because it's got so much stuff. It's much like the X1 that they do, but this is more for an intermediate flyer. You see, you can have the camera angle to a much flatter value, and this is a camera mount. The only thing I'm worried about with this camera mount is I'm noticing that it's knocking about quite a bit, and that is because the FPV camera here is dampened on these rubber grommets, and I think that's going to cause a problem, actually. Have to check that out in the flight. Previously I used a Foxeer Legend 1 camera and put that up the front. It's a much lower profile and that didn't wobble about, so I don't think that's going to give me good results. Anyway, what you get with this is great. We have 2205 motors, and we have 5-inch propellers there. They are 5045 props. So these props are very sturdy and thick. You are given a spare set of these though in the package, which is quite nice. And of course we have the FPV camera up front, which, as I mentioned, it does tilt, but if you have it in its lowest angle you are going to get some of this red cowling in shot, but that doesn't bother me too much. On the back of the camera is a switch to switch it from PAL to NTSC if you need to do that. And then we have this right hand polarized cloverleaf antenna as well, and this I guess is a bit of a weak point really, because it's really difficult to screw in there. It's sort of recessed into this all-in-one board there, and it's very difficult to screw in. I used a pair of pliers to turn it there, but I managed to get it in eventually. Yep, so everything is all in one in this thing, so the idea is that you don't have to take it apart at all. It's meant to just be taken out of the box and flown straight away. So as I mentioned, this is a 1300 3-cell battery, quite a small battery for the weight of this thing. Probably better with an 1800 battery, really. So what have we got in here? Well, we have a switchable VTX from 25 milliwatt to 600 milliwatt, and that is using these jumpers here. Now when you get it out of the box, it's set up to 25 milliwatt, and it's quite difficult to get to these jumpers here. I like to use a pair of tweezers to pull them out, so be very careful doing that. But everything is accessible here, so you should never have to take the top off. Then we have some options down here as well. Of course, that's where our battery connects, and when you do connect it, make sure that you have your antenna on there before you do so. Then here we have got a bind button, which you should never have to press, really. That's this top one here. And then down here we can change the band and the frequency here for the 40 channel VTX. So you sort of do a long press to change the band and a short press to change the frequency there. And then here you can turn the on-screen display on or off. So yes, has a built-in on-screen display, which is brilliant. And then we have the USB connector at the back there, so it comes with CleanFlight installed. I have installed Betaflight on this. I'm not going to go through that in this video because I've already done a video installing Betaflight on this, but I'm going to use the same settings, etc. Also got some dip switches under here as well, and that is so that you can switch the USB port out from configuring CleanFlight or the on-screen display, which is using multi-wii on-screen display there. So that's pretty much everything. As I say, everything is all in one here, so if anything breaks, the entire bottom plate would probably need to be replaced. We have 30 amp PSCs, which are separate to this board. They are B-Al-Hali, so not B-Al-Hali-S, so the RPM of them is a little bit higher than we are used to with B-Al-Hali-S. But in general, it's a pretty nice package. Now, you also get given this, which I've been really surprised about. It is the FlySky i6S, and it's a really, really nice transmitter. Very similar to the i6, except it doesn't have the old protocol, so if you are getting one of these, you won't be able to use it with the brushed micro quadcopters that are coming out, because they use the old FlySky protocol. And the i6, you could turn the latest protocol off and go into the old protocol. You can't do that with this, which is a shame because it's kind of a superior transmitter, really. We have got the port here, which if you connect into a computer, that does become a game controller, which the i6 doesn't. We've got a USB port under here as well, and we have sliders up here instead of potentiometers, which are really nice and accessible there. There's no antenna on the outside, that's on the inside. It's using 4 AA batteries again, so no LiPo, but I guess you could modify it. And we've also got 2 buttons at the back here as well, and these switches here, so you can configure more than 6 channels with this, which is very nice. And the way that you turn this on is hold both of these buttons down, which I'm not too much of a fan of. I prefer a normal switch because it's a bit of a pain, but I guess the idea is that you can't accidentally switch it off. But one thing that is fantastic about this transmitter is such a low price for this, and it's touchscreen. Look at that, we can go into the settings and change all of our settings here, auxiliary channels. So what I have done, with this one is I have changed the switches up a little bit. So I've set this switch here to arm, and then this is a 3-position switch, so I've put angle, horizon and acro on there, and there's a buzzer on this as well, low voltage buzzer, so I've set up that switch as a lost model alarm, and of course the buzzer will go off when the battery gets low as well, so that's a really nice feature. Really nice transmitter this, just wish it had the old protocol on there, then it would be better than the i6 in my opinion, because I really like this touchscreen. Really nice, really easy, you don't have to mess about with any buttons on the screen. And it's also got a little tripod mount here as well if you want to stick a monitor on there, which is nice, and if you use a lanyard as well, got that on the back. And also, oh, just turn that off. Also on the back got a handle, and these rubber grips are really nice as well. Now you might notice that I have converted this to mode 1. That is something that's easy to do as well. This is a mode 2 only model, but you just take off these rubber grips. Here's 2 screws underneath, reverse the parts, and then go into the menu and set it up for mode 1. You can actually do 1 to 4, which is just brilliant, I think. So that's the transmitter there, and then you get given this as well, which is sort of like all of the settings, etc., what the camera is. So it says that, you know, it's a 700 TV line camera, and it shows you all the different specifications, etc. It says the weight, so 617 grams with a 1300 milliamp 4S. It is a little bit heavy, this one a little bit heavy on the amps. Let's see, so this is the same manual that you get when you get the sort of ARF version, but this one's bound already, so we don't need all that. And then we get given this other manual here as well, with just sort of like a quick start guide there, which is nice. And you get this, which I really like, so it comes with the props in the package already screwed on to the motors, but you get given this as well, and that is so you can easily take the props off. I really like that. You are given a balance charger, so this is one where the battery just charges off the balance port. So I'm going to be using my hobby grade charger with this. What's this say here? I never use a charger unsupervised. Lots of warnings. Gives you a warning label on the top of here as well, which I have removed, saying that you should never power up without the antenna connected there. Then we've got all sorts of other things, so that's the chargers manual. We've got sort of warnings and the spare part. Oh, there's so much stuff. You can get a CD with like the manual on it as well. And then we've got a bunch of stickers, which are standard for the Shuriken stuff. And then we also have a cheat sheet as well for the frequencies of the VTX, which is quite nice. And we are given a USB lead here, which I've got loads of, but that's fine. It's a micro B there, and then a bunch of other stuff in here as well that I'm probably not going to open, but we've got some 3M sticky back tape there. We have got a receiver plate, so this is what you get in the ARF version if you want to add a different receiver. Got a spare camera holder there, and we also have got a Velcro strap as well if you want to put your camera on this thing. So pretty much all the same stuff that you get with the ARF version, except this time we have got a lovely transmitter. The the rubber grips are coming off there, but I really love this transmitter. Really surprised by it, actually. So what I'm going to do next is let's go and hook up the quadcopter with this battery and see how it flies. Okay, let's get and take this one for a line of sight flight. First of all, I'm going to arm it, and I'm in angle mode here, and it feels very smooth for now. See if I can get it in close. Very nice. Let's see what the punch is like on 3S. Wow, that is plenty. I've been flying these brush models around. I forgot that even with a 3S on a brushless model, the power is intense. So what's great about this model is that you can start off with a 3S and then the components can take a 4S no problem. Let's flip it into acro mode. And see if there's any issues there, because this is just the Betaflight stock tune. Sounds like the alarm's going off already. The tune doesn't seem too bad, but it's just the stock Betaflight. So this was a full battery and the alarm's going off. So it definitely draws a lot of amps, this one. Oh, that bird nearly got a prop in the face then. But what I'm going to do is stick a 4-sal on it and do some flying with a 4-sal. So let's come in for a landing because that beeper's going off. It seems like the battery isn't going to last very long if you stick with the 3-sal. So I figured out why the voltage alarm was going off so early. The scaling is actually incorrect. If you go back to the start of this flight, the battery was showing 15.6 volts and this is a 4S, which fully charged is 16.8 volts. So there's a couple of things that you can do there. You can go and change the voltage scaling in CleanFlight or Betaflight, or you can change the voltage scaling in multi-wii on-screen display, but I guess a little bit of a quality control issue there because the first version of this model I received didn't have a problem with that, so that has just been missed there. But not to worry, I'm going to fly this around till the battery dies anyways, so I'm completely ignoring the on-screen display. So I'm using a Turnigy graphene battery with this one because this quadcopter definitely draws more amps and really it needs a bigger battery. This is a 1300 milliamp 4-sal graphene battery and I don't get a great flight time out of it, actually just a 2.5 minute flight time, and I fly it till its death, which you will see. One thing that you might notice is that the camera is wobbling about and it looks like a bad tune, but it's not. This is the same tune that I used on the first Shuriken Betaflight video that I did, and I wasn't getting any wobbles line of sight. The wobbles are coming from that top heavy camera and the vibration dampened camera mount wobbling when it's recovering from its maneuvers. So if you want to use a HD camera with this, I would recommend using a low profile one like the Foxeer Legend one like I did in the original review of this, and it worked much better. So it's actually raining here today as well. I'm really struggling to get a decent day where I can fly, but yeah, it was flying nice actually. It did fine in the wind as well because it was a fairly windy day. The only thing I would say is the flight time is a little bit low, just 2.5 minutes or so with this one, and I'm pushing it to its limits there, so it probably needs a bigger battery, but it does fly out of the box. And if you stick Betaflight on there, it's going to fly like any other mini quad. So there you go, that is my review of the Holybro Shuriken 250 RTF from GearBest. I will put a link in the description if you wish to get one. And as I just fly around here and try and exhaust the battery, thanks so much for watching. Please continue to subscribe. Cheers.